Okay, for anyone out there who's an entrepreneur or even just thinking about it, listen up. This is probably the single most important page you will ever create for your business. I'm talking about the business model canvas. And to really show you just how powerful this thing is, we've got to go back to a huge moment of crisis.
So just imagine this for a second. You're Uber, right? You've built this massive, multi-billion-dollar empire on one simple thing, moving people around cities. Then, bam, a global pandemic hits. Suddenly, everyone is ordered to stay home. Your entire business model, the very thing that made you Uber, it just vanished.
And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, gone. Pretty much overnight, their main business, the ride-sharing we all know, it just cratered. It dropped by a staggering 80%. For most companies, that's it. Game over. It's what you'd call an extinction-level event, a total catastrophe. But here's the crazy part. From those ashes, they didn't just scrape by and survive. No, they built a brand new $12 billion business. So how'd they do it? How did they pull off such a massive pivot and so ridiculously fast? Well, the answer is in a surprisingly simple one-page document.
And this right here is the hero of our story, the business model canvas. Look, this isn't one of those 100-page business plans that just collects dust on a shelf. Nope, it's a strategic blueprint on a single page. It breaks your entire business down into 9 essential building blocks. It lets you see, visually, how all the different pieces fit together to create value. And for Uber, man, it was the map that showed them the way forward when it looked like there was nowhere to go.
All right, so let's break down this whole pivot. We're going to treat it like a masterclass in using the canvas. We'll walk through the key building blocks one by one, and you'll see exactly how Uber found this incredible opportunity that was hiding right there in plain sight.
First up, customer segments. Basically, who are you selling to? Now, this is where Uber was so smart. They realized they didn't have to go out and find a bunch of new customers. Why? Because they already had millions of them, urban millennials, right there on their app. And these were the exact people who were now stuck at home, getting hungry, and still had money to spend. Okay, so what could they possibly offer this captive audience? It came down to a simple, super powerful promise. Hot food from all your favorite restaurants, delivered in about 30 minutes. Think about it. This wasn't just a nice-to-have anymore. For people sick of cooking every single meal, it was a total lifeline. So, how did they get the word out? How would they reach these customers? This part is just brilliant. They used the channel they already owned, the Uber app itself. With just one little update, boom, they could offer this brand new service to millions of users instantly. The cost to get all these new Eats customers? Basically zero. Absolutely incredible. But of course, you can't really deliver food without, well, food. That brings us to the next block, key partners. And the timing here was just unbelievable. At that exact moment, you had 500,000 restaurants with their dining rooms completely shut down. They were absolutely desperate for a way to get their food to people. So you have Uber needing partners and restaurants desperately needing a platform. It was, a perfect match.
And what about Uber's most valuable asset? What was their key resource? It was their huge network of 5 million drivers. All of a sudden, these drivers had nobody to drive around, but they were all still there, ready and waiting for work. So Uber just repurposed this giant existing asset, from moving people to moving pizzas and pad thai.
And this really shows you how their cost structure worked. The vast majority of the money coming in, a full 70% of it, went straight to driver incentives. Now, this was absolutely crucial. It's what kept their key resource, the drivers, paid and active on the platform. It's what made the whole thing tick.
But here's the one number that really ties this whole thing together. This is the killer stat that explains how they moved so fast and became so successful. 90%.
They were able to reuse 90% of their existing ride-sharing infrastructure. Think about that. The app, the drivers, the payment systems, the mapping technology, everything was already there. The canvas didn't help them invent something from scratch. It helped them see how to reshuffle the pieces they already had into a new, incredibly valuable business. And that was the real genius.
See, that's the power of looking at your business as a whole system, of really getting how all the pieces connect. And look, this isn't just for global giants with millions of drivers. In fact, I'd argue it's even more crucial when you're just starting out. So let's take a look at how the canvas can work for a solo entrepreneur.
So let's talk about Sarah. She's a freelance graphic designer. Now, her original business model was all about corporate clients. The big problem? Well, the projects paid okay, but the margins were pretty low, and landing each new client was a long, hard slog. By actually mapping it all out on the canvas, she could see this huge mismatch between the effort she was putting in and what she was getting back. So what'd she do? She used the canvas to design a whole new model. This time, she targeted Instagram influencers. They were way more willing to pay top dollar for great design, and she could reach them super easily and cheaply right through social media.
And the result of this one simple shift, a shift she found just by looking at those building blocks on a single page, she doubled her revenue. Just like that. Now, she didn't work twice as hard. Not at all. She just worked smarter. The canvas helped her find that sweet spot, that perfect alignment between the right customer, a value proposition they were excited about, and a channel that was easy and efficient to use.
So when you boil it all down, the canvas is pretty much the ultimate litmus test for any new idea. I don't care if it's a massive startup, a new product you're launching, or even if you're just thinking about a career change. Because before you do anything else, you have to answer the most fundamental question in business, right? Which is, will this thing actually make money? Is there a clear, logical path from what it costs you to run to getting money out of a customer's wallet?
And that's the real power of the business model canvas. It forces you to connect all those dots. It makes you look that relationship between your costs and your revenue streams right in the eye. And you have to do it before you write a single line of code or spend $1 on marketing. It's all about de-risking your idea from the get-go.
So, that really just leaves one last question, and this one's for you. Whether you're dreaming of building the next Uber or you're just about to launch your freelance career, you've got an idea. The question is, what's the blueprint for it?